Hey folks, what's happening? I've been fooling with this computer and this camera. Some of you have gotten a picture, which I can't say much about that. No voice, scattered voice, all over the place, rabbits on my head. I'm telling you, computers, I tell you, I don't know how we made it without them. I don't know how in the world we're making it with them, but God's good. So anyway, I'm trying to manipulate, work around, figure out how is best to continue doing what I appreciate doing, and hopefully you do as well. Nehemiah, when Nehemiah was born in Babylon, and he kept hearing the stories of the Jews about Israel and how beautiful Israel was and how great Israel was, and the city of Jerusalem particularly, he had this desire to go back and rebuild the wall. He had a desire to do something that he had only heard about, but he had never experienced. Now that's a lot like you and I reading the Bible. When you read the Bible of that story of Nehemiah, or David slaying the great giant, or whatever the case may be, that should create a hunger in us to do what we have heard, but often we have not seen. In your life, God desires to take you from where you are to where you ought to be, and sometimes that ought and want is the same place. But God will use situations that we're familiar with, such as the Word of God and stories in the Bible. And He will show us how that someone else in our like situation was able to make it. Now you take Job, for example. Now Job, with all the suffering that he had, well, God made a way for him. You take Jonah, as rebellious as Jonah was, God made a way for him. You see, in your life and in my life, we have to draw application. Now, Nehemiah saw from the eyes of the people that told him the stories of what had happened in Jerusalem. He'd never been there. He was born into captivity in Babylon. But he had such a strong desire to see the city of God honored again, of which he had never seen, had never been there, but yet he had a desire because the people that shared the stories with him had lived it, knew it, believed it, understood it, and longed for it. Let me ask you today, in your life and your situation, what are you longing for that appears like a dream to you? It appears like, well, it just can't happen. There's no way I can get straightened out. I talked to a fellow the other day. He said, I've given up on my dream. I said, why on earth would you give up on your dream? Oh, he said, it's just not going to happen. Well, why not? You see, with God, all things are possible. No matter where you are or what's going on with you, God can still turn that around. But that's a day-by-day process. See, the thing about Nehemiah that's important, if you read the story, Nehemiah was the cupbearer of the king of Babylon, or Persia actually. And he comes in to do his job. His countenance is down, and the king asked him the question. But the point is, Nehemiah was on the job. Nehemiah was doing what he was supposed to do. Even though he felt bad, even though he wanted to be somewhere else, even though he wanted to do something else, he was still on the job. And sometimes what happens to us is that we miss the point because we want to change everything, and God is working where we are to accomplish His goal in us, listen, and through us. It is the desire of God to make a difference in your life that not only benefits you, but benefits other people. And if you know the story of Nehemiah, he ran into opposition. When he was allowed to go back to Jerusalem, he didn't have a financial problem. He didn't have a government support problem because that was all behind him. He had a local problem. The locals, for the most part, did not want Nehemiah around them. But Nehemiah stayed because he knew that he was doing the Lord's work. Now let me ask you today, are you about to give up? Here on Friday, are you about to throw the towel in? Are you about to say, I've had enough? Or are you going to say, I've read in the scriptures where others that serve God had problems, and I'm going to press on because they pressed on, because the same God that served and helped and blessed them will serve and help and bless me. The same one. So friend, today don't let things get on you so bad that you start stopping what God has obviously called you to do. Well, if you do that, God will bless you for it. God bless you. We love you, and goodbye.